Okay, and then like what I was saying about Ted DiBiase, Million Dollar Man, he was one of the most over heels in the WWE around the 80s and then some part of the 90s before he retired. He was just so good on the mic, and he just had that way of getting the fans to hate him. And in my opinion, he should have gotten a world title run. He was supposed to get a world title run at WrestleMania 4, but that wasn't the case. Don't know the whole story about that, but I know he was supposed to win the tournament at WrestleMania 4, but they changed it at the last minute and made Macho Man Randy Savage win the title. But I believe if he would have been world champion, that would have established him even more as a heel, as many people want to see him lose the title, and he could have built himself. He could have built his reputation and everything as being a world champion with his heel persona, but WWE never decided to do that. The next person on this list I got is Paul Orndorff. He was a good wrestler. He was over with the crowd, and I feel he should have. The reason I feel he should have been world champion is the fact that he was just so good in the ring. He knew how to generate heat, and he should have got the belt around when he was in the WWE. When he turned heel on Hogan, he should have been the one to beat Hogan for the title, and then thus having those two feud with each other. But that wasn't the case, as WWE had other plans for Hogan. But if they would have had Paul Orndorff win the title from Hogan, they could have did something real good with Paul Orndorff, and they could have had that program with Paul Orndorff and Hogan, like just feuding with each other over the belt. But that wasn't the case, and thus he's always going to be remembered for never winning the big gold. The next person who should have won the big gold is Jake Roberts. This man was over with the crowd. He was good as a heel or a face. He knew how to generate heat, and I just feel that the man should have gotten a world title run in the WWE when he was in the WWE. Sometime in the 90s, like 1990, in the early 80s, the early part of the 80s, or the early part of the 90s, he should have got a title run, but that wasn't the case, as Jake was just put in mid-card feuds and just used to put wrestlers over instead of getting that world title that I rightfully feel he should have deserved. But still, he was a good wrestler, and thus I feel he should have gotten some title run at some point. Next two guys on this list is Lance Storm and William Regal. With Lance Storm, he had everything that you want in a good wrestler. He had the look, he had the charisma, he can cut good promos, he was good in the ring. Same with William Regal. These two were they were two really good wrestlers, and I feel that these wrestlers should have been world champion. Lance Storm should have been the ECW champion when he was in ECW, as ECW could have had one of the wrestler who had great in-ring technical ability, and they could have did some good things with them in ECW. Same with his WWE title run, when they were putting the title on just about almost everybody. When he came to not everybody, just Triple H, but when Triple H was put out of the picture, they could have at least given him some sort of a title run, but that wasn't the case. And the same with William Regal. He could have gotten a title run in 2001 or at least 2002, but he always got pushed aside for younger talent or guys who really aren't known for their wrestling ability, i.e. guys like Batista nowadays and other guys nowadays. But this guy should have got a title run. He should have got a title run last year or in some point in the early part of this year, but he never really got the case, and he never really got it at this case. So thus, we're only going to remember those two for being good wrestlers, but never winning the big gold. Scott Hall is another wrestler who should have got the gold. I mean, he's a 5-time Intercontinental Champion, and at some point when he could have been moved into the WWE title picture, like after his 3rd or 4th Intercontinental title reign, but apparently he wasn't the case, as the Shawn Michaels and Diesel were already in the title programs. But at least he should have gotten a title run at some point in the WWE. And the same point when he was in WCW and he had that match with Sting, in my opinion, he should have went over Sting at Uncensored 1998, and thus he could have had that 3 month title reign, and Sting could have been able to defeat him for the title, but instead he ended up jobbing to Sting, and then somehow Macho Man ended up getting the title, and thus Scott Hall never really got his title push that he should have gotten. But in my opinion, it would have been nice to see this man get a title. He should have got a WWE title run or a WCW title run, but never was the case. Jesse Ventura is another one who should have got a title run, as he was just one of the most hated heels back in the 70s. He could generate heat, and he just knew how to get under your skin, and I believe he should have been the one to face Hogan and take the title away from Hogan, but never was the case, as he was just stuck to feuding with mid-cards, winning the Intercontinental title, I believe, if he did win the Intercontinental title, and we only remember him. Next person on here is Dustin Rhodes, who you know as Goldust. This guy should have got I know he wasn't going to get this guy should have gotten a WWE title run in 96 or at some point in 97, but again, you had Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart in that title picture, but it would have been nice to see him get a title run around 96, as he was one of the most over heels in WWE because of his bizarreness and his ability to generate heat from the crowd. He should have got a title run in WCW around that time, where everybody was pretty much getting pushed for the title when Hogan wasn't with WCW, but they were so intent on pushing guys like Sting and Vader and many other guys, and they just overlooked guys like Dustin Rhodes. But still, he was a good wrestler, and he had good charisma, and he was very good in the ring, and he should have gotten a title run at some point. Tully Blanchard and Magnum TA, two guys who were over with the crowd. Tully Blanchard was mainly over with the crowd because people wanted to see him get his ass kicked. Magnum TA over with the crowd mainly because they liked him, his style. He was just a very good wrestler, and it's a shame these two never really got the title runs. Magnum TA was supposed to get a title run, but injuries started coming up to him, and he really didn't get the title. Tully Blanchard really never got the title, mainly because Ric Flair and many other guys were getting their title runs, and it's a shame, but they should have at some point got a title run. Jimmy Snuka is another one of those wrestlers who should have got a title, at least some kind of a title, or at least a title run. He was over with the crowd. He had good matches. He was a high flyer, and he was good on the mic he was good on the mic, and at some point he should have got a title run, but WWE never intended on putting the title on him, as he was just used as main attraction to attract the crowd and stuff like that. And it's a shame, because this man was a good wrestler, and it would have been nice to see him get a title run. Dean Malenko, already went into explanation about him in Wrestling Forgotten Gems. This man was over with the crowd. The only thing that held him back was his charisma, and had he had the charisma, he would have been a world champion at some point in his career. This man could do it all. He can beat you with so many moves. He had good matches. He did everything. He always was willing to put people over, and he was just a very good wrestler, in my opinion. One of the best that should have at least gotten a title run, but never, because of his size and his charisma and the fact that they were pushing older wrestlers instead of pushing wrestlers like him. Shelton Benjamin, very good wrestler. Many people feel he should be champion in this day and age, but of course he's not, because we got guys like Triple H and John Cena and Batista who are hogging the title picture. But it'd be nice to see this man get a title run, and then the fact that he's not that good on the mic, although he has been improving, but still I feel this man should get a title run, as he's very athletic. He can put on good matches, and he's always showing up in all of his matches. The next person on here, same, John Morrison. He's very over with the crowd. He can put butts on the seat. People like him. He's one of the most over heels in the WWE. He's got a very good style in the ring, and look out for part 3 as I